There's a word going around right now that means absolutely nothing. Not nothing like it's vague, nothing like there was no definition and there was never supposed to be one. Kids say it, other kids laugh, and when an adult asks what it means, that's the joke. That's the whole thing. That word is doing something words have been doing for 100,000 years. It's a password. It sorts everyone within earshot into two groups, the people who get it and you. So let's run the tape backwards, from a word that means nothing all the way back to the first sound a human made that meant something. And when you watch it all in reverse, you hit a wall. We still don't know what that first word was, and we probably never will. Start with today. Right now, kids are speaking a dialect that's being invented and discarded faster than any language in human history, because it's built on the internet, and the internet never sleeps. Some of its examples would be snatched, meaning you look flawless, sigma means impressively independent, or its own person, and PR means pure. And some of it means nothing, on purpose. 6-7 doesn't really have a definition, depending on who you ask anyway. It's an inside joke that spreads so fast the joke became the point, a word whose only meaning is whether or not you're in on it. And that right there is the whole engine of language. Slang was never really about the words. It's a password. It quietly sorts every human who can hear it into two groups, us and them. And if you get it, you belong. If you don't, you're outside. Which sounds harmless on the playground, but humans have used that exact power, words as a password, to rebel and hide things in plain sight. To see how far back that goes, we have to leave the internet entirely. Because slang has a darker, older job, saying something out loud that only your people can understand. People have done this for centuries. In Victorian England, thieves spoke what was called thieves' cant, not as in cannot though. An entire underground vocabulary, so police couldn't follow a conversation happening right in front of them. Coded words that let you discuss what you did without ever naming it. Sometimes it wasn't about that though. Sometimes it was survival. Enslaved people in America hid entire escape maps inside songs. Spirituals that sounded like worship, but told you which way to run to be free. Follow the drinking gourd meant follow the Big Dipper north. A whole language of freedom disguised as a hymn. Even London taxi drivers built a rhyming code, Cockney rhyming slang, where use your loaf means use your head because loaf of bread rhymes with head. A puzzle you can only solve if you're local. Notice the pattern. From TikTok to thieves to enslaved people to cab drivers. Same move every time. Language splits into the inside and the outside. And the reason that trick works at all is that language was a group membership badge at the very beginning. Long before writing, long before cities, which is where this goes next. Here's something that will surprise you. Everything we talked about so far, spoken slang leaves no trace. Sound vanishes the instant it's made. For almost all of human history, every word spoken died the moment it was ever heard, until about 5,000 years ago. In ancient summer, when someone did the most powerful thing in the history of communication, they made a word hold still, writing. And here's the part they don't tell you in school. It wasn't invented for poetry or history or love letters. The first writing was receipts, accounting, tallies of grain and sheep and taxes pressed onto wet clay with a reed. The oldest named author we know of, it wasn't a king or a general. The first person in history to sign their name into words was a priestess named Enheduanna, writing hymns over 4,000 years ago. Writing did something no human had ever done. It let a person speak to someone they can never meet across thousands of years. You are doing it right now. A Sumerian account reaching across 5,000 years to hand you the entire modern world. But writing is brand new. Language itself is vastly, vastly older. And to find where it began, we have to go past the last written word into the dark. Now we hit a wall because spoken language leaves no fossils, no bones, and no artifacts. We can dig up a hand axe from 2 million years ago, but we can never dig up a sentence. So how do we know when humans started talking? We hunt for clues. Clue 1, the body. Deep in your throat sits a small bone, a hyoid, that anchors the muscles you need for complex speech. We've found the hyoid bones in our ancestors, going back hundreds of thousands of years, shaped for talking. There's also a gene, nicknamed the language gene, that when broken wrecks a person's ability to form words and grammar. That human version appears to be very old. Clue 2, behavior. Around 50,000 years ago, something explodes in the human record. Cave paintings, jewelry, burials with grave goods, tools traded across hundreds of miles. You cannot coordinate any of that without language. Symbolic thought and symbolic speech seem to switch on together. But here's the honest truth, and it's a big one. Scientists genuinely do not agree on how language began. The question was considered so unanswerable, so prone to wild speculation, that in 1866, the Linguistic Society of Paris officially banned papers on the original language. Banned the topic. It was hopeless. So we are left in theories, and they're wonderful. How do you get from animal noise to Shakespeare? Nobody knows. But the leading ideas each capture a piece. 1. The warning. Long before words, our ancestors, like animals today, made specific sounds for specific dangers. This isn't a guess. We can watch it happen right now. Vervet monkeys have different alarm calls for a leopard, an eagle, and a snake, and the whole troop reacts differently to each. That's not language, but it's the seed of it. A sound that stands for a thing. One noise, one meaning. That's the first brick. 2 is imitation. Maybe early words simply copied the world. The sound a thing makes becomes the name. We still do it. Buzz, splash, boom. Fragments of the first language may be hiding in our mouth right now. Maybe it started as the sounds of people make working, or soothing a baby, or singing together around a fire. Rhythm and melody slowly hardening into meaning. Some scientists think we sang before we spoke. Whichever it was, at some point a threshold was crossed. A sound stopped just being a reaction and became a symbol. Something that could stand for a thing that wasn't even there. A mammoth over a hill. Tomorrow, danger that hasn't happened yet. That leap from noise to symbol is arguably the most important thing to ever happen to our species. It's the moment we became us. So picture the very beginning, before grammar, before nouns, before the first word. 2 early humans. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, one points, one grunts a warning, one bares teeth to threaten, or laughs to say we're okay. We still speak this language today. It's the oldest one we have. It's why a smile means the same thing in every country on earth, and why a baby cries before it can even be taught to. That layer underneath words, the pointing, the tone, the face, that comes first. And it's still running under every sentence you speak. And then once, somewhere to someone, a sound came out the mouth that didn't just react to the world, but named it. A specific noise agreed upon by 2 people for a specific thing. That was the first word. We will never know what it was. No recording, no writing for another 100,000 plus years. It was spoken once into the air, and the air kept no copy. But here's the beautiful part. It didn't die because the person who heard it understood and set it back. So run the tape for it again and watch the same thing happen over and over. A warning grunt becomes a word becomes a secret shared by 2 people, the secret becomes a slang of a tribe, tribes write it in clay, and it never dies. And 100,000 years later, a 10-year-old types 6-7 onto a phone. For the exact same reason the first human made that first sound, to be understood by their people and no one else. The technology changed completely. The purpose never changed at all. Every word you know is a direct descendant of a sound some human made in the dark, and every generation has done the one human thing, taken the language they were handed and made a new one the last generation can't crack. Which means your kids aren't ruining the language. They're doing the most ancient thing there is. And somewhere out there, right now, a brand new word is being spoken for the very first time, and we have no idea what it'll mean. If you want the full history on the next world-changing thing, subscribe. New episode coming soon.